Hello everybody and welcome back to Tehillim Treasures, where every week we are going to learn through two chapters of Tehillim, beginning with chapter Aleph, going all the way to Kapitel Kuf Nun, 150 chapters of Tehillim, David HaMelech's timeless treasures. This episode of Tehillim Treasures is sponsored by two exceptionally wonderful organizations. First of all, Chazaq. Chazaq giving chizuk to Yidden all over the world, throughout the world, through various mediums. But Chazaq has given strength to Yidden, and especially over the last 2 years throughout COVID, when so many people were locked up inside, Chazaq was there for you. Please support them generously. And finally, Chickens for Shabbos, which is exactly that. At chickensforshabbos.com, you will be able to donate to an incredible organization that provides chickens for Shabbos, but much more than chickens. For those people who are rabbeim, they're melamdim, they can't afford things, they give them chickens. For women who are grushis, they're divorced, or agunas, they're all alone, they need our help. And we, in Yirtzeh Hashem, will be able to help them. Please give generously, chickensforshabbos.com. We now get back to the next two kapitluch, which is Kapitel Yud Aleph and Yud Beis. Kapitel Yud Aleph begins Lamnatseach LeDavid. David HaMelech sings a mizmor, he sings a song, and he starts with two words, and these two words are words that you should hold in your pocket. Bashem Chosisi. In Hashem, I trust. Throughout Tehillim, David HaMelech speaks about bitachon. He speaks about trusting in Hashem, and this is yet another opportunity where David HaMelech is able to speak to us about bitachon. The truth is that bitachon is not something that you check the box and you move on. It is a lifelong struggle. We're constantly tested with bitachon challenges, and we have to do our utmost to be able to rise to those challenges. That when we feel like matters are totally in our own hands, we have to realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is controlling the world, and vice versa. We should not panic when we feel like we have no control. We need to remember that the Rabbeinu Shalom will A, never do anything to hurt us, and B, controls the entire world. If you can remember those two thoughts, put Bashem Chosisi in your pocket, hold it dear to your heart, you will never, ever be lost, and you'll live through life so much more comfortably and pleasurably. Now, the words Me'olam kivinu lach at the end of Moedim have very interesting Rashi Tevis. The Rashi Tevis of Me'olam kivinu lach spell the word makol. Makol, mem kuf lamed. And a makal, or a makol, is a staff, a stick. Yaakov Avinu says, Ki v'makli avarti es hayardein hazeh, running away from Esav. Yaakov Avinu is being pursued. Esav Arasha is ready to hound him, to kill him. And he crosses with his staff, with his stick. Ki v'makli avarti es hayardein hazeh. Really? That's not going to get you very far, Yaakov Avinu. How are you going to defend yourself against Esav Harasha with a little staff? And the answer is, Me'olam kivinu lach is Rashi Tevis Makol. A person has to remember, and we should remember this when we say Moedim Anachnu Lach, in that kapitel of Shemona Esrei, in that chapter, in that bracha of Shemona Esrei. Person needs to remember that if we are armed with the staff, with the stick, the makol, that Yaakov Avinu has carried, that Moshe Rabbeinu carried, that Yidden throughout the generations have carried, we will never be lost. We could be pursued by our enemies. And this can happen to somebody at work. It can happen to somebody when he's hounded with various trials and tribulations that happen in everyday normal life. But if you hold on to the trust, if you hold on to the Rabbeinu Shalom, and that's all you hold on to, you will always be in good hands. There's a Gevaldige Maisa. Reb Zundel of Salant was a great tzaddik, and the doctors in Yerushalayim were worried that his daughter was having very, very great difficulty. She was very sick. And much anxiety and worry went into it, not from Reb Zundel though. Reb Zundel sent his son-in-law, And he told him, listen, there's going to be an operation performed. We do not have the necessary funds. Can you please go travel to Europe, and you will be able to raise the money so that my daughter, your sister-in-law, will be able to have the operation she needs. And Reb Shmuel set out on his journey, and he went collecting, but he did not really have much success. He was very, very broken about it. And he called up his father-in-law, whose name, by the way, was the same name as his name. So Reb Zundel Salant told his son-in-law, Reb Shmuel Salant, to go collecting, and Reb Shmuel Salant told his father-in-law he's not having very much success. How about you write me a ksav hamlotza, write me a letter of approbation, give me a haskama. When people hear that Reb Zundel Salant's daughter is sick and that she needs someone to give money, everybody will give. Reb Zundel responded, no, you are placing your trust in something or someone other than the Ribbono Shel Olam, and that is not the way we live. Sure enough, Reb Shmuel did not rely on it. Eventually they were zoichet to get the money, and she had a refuah shalema. Imagine that. Reb Zundel Salant's own daughter is deathly ill. She needs an operation to save her life. All his son-in-law was asking for was just a letter. But Reb Zundel understood there was only one that could help his daughter, Bashem Chosisi, Hashem and no one else. This brings us to the next chapter of Tehillim, chapter 12, Kapitel Yud Beis. And Kapitel Yud Beis speaks of a very, very important midah. It speaks of the midah of emes. David speaks about svas chalokos, yachreis Hashem kol sifsei chalokos. A person asks Hashem, cut off all the lips of smooth talk. Sometimes people think that their talk will be smooth and glib. They'll get it by whoever they need to. They'll get what they want. They won't be totally honest. Little do we realize, says Reb Shamshon Raphael Hirsch, that the word chalak, which means smooth, and the word chelek, which means a portion, a division, something that's separated, are really the same word. A person wants something to be whole, and therefore you think, I won't be totally honest, and I'll keep it whole. I'll make it whole. On the contrary, adarabba, punk fakir, just the opposite. If a person speaks dishonestly, then unfortunately, not only will it not remain whole, it will fall and crumble, and everything you hoped and dreamed for will not come true. And David HaMelech talks about the midah of emes, and he goes through various instances in David HaMelech's life when emes was needed, and the importance of emes, and how you can't rely on sheker because sheker ein lo raglayim, sheker has nothing to stand on. I want to share with you a story. The story some might find a little troublesome, but I think it's a very powerful story. Reb Shimon Schwab, the great Rav of the Washington Heights community, who was a great tzaddik, he stood for truth. He spoke often about the importance of being ehrlich and honest, and his community followed in his footsteps. I'd like to share with you a story about Reb Shimon Schwab. And Reb Shimon Schwab was the Rav of the Washington Heights community, and he preached to his community about the importance of emes, of truth, of saying the truth, of being truthful. And his community followed in his footsteps, and the Washington Heights community is a very ehrlich community. And he drew upon his experiences as a childhood, the message that his father gave him. One time his mother asked him to go buy some groceries from the store. She gave him money, he went to the store, and there was some leftover change. And Shimon wanted a piece of chocolate. So he bought the chocolate with the leftover change, he ate the chocolate, and he put the wrapper in his pocket so no one would know. He then went home, and his mother asked him for the change. And he said, I'm sorry, Mommy, there was no change. and she noticed that there was a wrapper sticking out of his pocket. She called him on his dishonesty, and he confessed. That Friday night, Shimon is sitting at the Shabbos table, and his father sings Shalom Aleichem, and he sings Eishes Chayil, and then it's time to give out the brachas. The beautiful bracha that a father gives his child every single Friday night. And each child stepped forward to get their bracha. But when it came to Shimon's turn, his father looked him squarely in the eyes and he said, Shimon, today you did not tell the emes. And when someone doesn't say the truth, there is no bracha in his life. Tonight, you don't get a bracha. And this very painful episode taught Shimon to never lie. And in his estimation, he said he never knowingly told a lie for the rest of his life. It is a hurtful story, but sometimes, especially when people are younger, they need to learn the importance of being honest. And when you're honest, you will see all the bracha in the world.